Okay, you may or may not know that the James Yeager channel has been pretty much killed by YouTube. A lot of people are making the Unban James Yeager videos. I've got a little bit of a different take on it, maybe than some other folks, but this is going to be my Unban James Yeager video. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose, your home for information and gear reviews related to camping, survival, and general preparedness for regular folks. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. So we're here. This is the first chance I really had to get outside and make a video in a couple of days. This had record snowfall here in Georgia, maybe the most I've seen, at least in my memory, or maybe if not in my lifetime. But so James Yeager, some people hate him, some people love him. You may know that YouTube a 3 days ago now has pretty much killed his channel for third strike violations of their community guidelines. And let me just start this with a full disclosure and say that I am a graduate of the James Yeager fighting pistol class. There's my name there. I'm very proud of the certificate, and I got to say that I have I'm also very pleased to be able to say that to call James Yeager at least a long distance friend, if not a close friend. This video was kind of inspired by a friend of mine who is she is a woman that used to teach my kids preschool at our church, and it's kind of a funny story. I remember her getting onto my kids for using their fingers to make guns. And now, what, 20 years later or 15 years later, she is a pro Second Amendment advocate and a concealed carrier herself. So and you know who you are. I'm not going to name her name here just because she probably doesn't want the publicity, but I got to say she is a big supporter of our Second Amendment rights now, and she again carries concealed. But she also cannot stand James Yeager for whatever reason. She doesn't like him. She doesn't. He definitely has uses a lot of profanity. She doesn't like that. She hated the crazy hot matrix video, but most guys think it's funny. But I'm rambling already, so let me just get back to the chase. Anyway, she sent me a text, rather. I just want to read you one part of her text and tell you this is kind of a viewpoint that really inspired me to make this video. And what she said was, "I can't stand Yeager's views, and I think he makes the gun community look bad, but I don't think he should have been banned." She started with, "I want him to be unbanned so I can practice my right to intentionally not watch him." But that inspired this video because I think that's a refreshing viewpoint. Even though she disagrees with him, she disagrees with the silencing of that voice. And I think that's something that we are really missing in our society today, that we seem to have somehow lost the ability to peaceably disagree about things, and instead of debating people on the issues, it's a lot easier just to shut them down and shut them up. So, but let me be real clear about this. So I'm gonna get back on. By the way, learn this from James Yeager. I've got a kind of an agenda here for the video to try to stick with it, and so I'm gonna do that right now, because I told you this is gonna be a little bit different viewpoint than maybe some people have, and I think it's gonna be. First of all, some people are saying that they're violating his First Amendment rights and this is a freedom of speech issue. It is in no way whatsoever a First Amendment or freedom of speech issue. The First Amendment is related to what the government can do, and I've got the text of it right here on my old notes, and it says, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof," it's a different video, "or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition government for a redress of grievances." Congress shall make no law is the main thing I want to get to here. YouTube is not Congress. YouTube is a private business. YouTube has a terms of service and community guidelines that we all agree as YouTube creators to adhere to, and we also all know that if we don't adhere to it, then they have every right and privilege to just shut us down. We are playing on their field with their ball by their rules. So I want to read you a couple things from about YouTube's termination policy, and try not to keep this too boring, but I think some people may not know this. This is stuff that as a YouTube creator I have agreed to, James agreed to, anybody who puts videos on here agrees to, and if they change, they have the right to change, and we agree to keep up with those. So it says YouTube will terminate a user's access to the service if under appropriate circumstances the user is determined to be a repeat infringer. YouTube reserves the right to decide whether content violates these terms of service for reasons of blah, 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 blah. YouTube may at any time without prior notice and its sole discretion remove such content and or terminate a user's accounts for submitting such material in violation of these terms of service. So basically what they're saying is it's our deal. We do what we want. You know, you agreed to, we're in charge here. We're allowing you to post videos on our platform, and we don't have to post them if we don't want to. I mean, and I think that's right. Whether you like that policy or not, we all agree to that from YouTube. I don't really know why the video got banned, or why the video got a strike. It was something about him and Mookie, and I know Mookie's a combat veteran. James has seen, you know, in firefights and combat, so I don't really know what they're talking about, but apparently they got, they violated some terms of service. So, but here's a couple that YouTube does say that kind of give them the ability to kind of interpret things the way they want to. This is about hateful content. It says, we encourage free speech and try to defend your right to express unpopular points of view, but we don't permit hate speech. And then they pretty much determine what is hate speech. But basically, it's the purpose of inciting hatred against individuals or groups based on certain attributes such as race or ethnic origin, religion, disability, gender, age, veteran status, or sexual orientation or gender identity. Harmful or dangerous content that intends to incite violence or encourage dangerous or illegal activities. So there's a lot of gray there in what could be considered a dangerous activity. Many people consider the very ownership of a firearm a dangerous activity. That's really sad because we wouldn't be the nation we are without firearms. I firmly believe that. Anyway, so I'm not going to, I've got a whole lot more on here, but we're not going to go over all that. Bottom line is that there's a lot of room for interpretation there, and that interpretation is solely at YouTube's discretion. So, and our current political and social climate is such that, wow, a little snow here. So, like I said, that we seem to have somehow abandoned the principle of being able to disagree about things and still respect each other. So, but I want to talk about specifically the James Yeager issue in regards to what is commonly known as the gun community. I think there are a lot of people who, in the quote-unquote gun community, who are willing to just sit down and let James take the hit for this, because they don't agree with what he says. They think he is an extremist. They think he is, he goes too far. He gives the gun community a bad name. Blah blah blah. All these different things. But I'll read you a quote from somebody who's a very famous individual that says, this is regarding the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and it says, "We must indeed all hang together, or most assuredly we shall all hang separately." That's from Benjamin Franklin. At least it's attributed to him, and I think that's the situation we're in right now. If the anti-gun community, as we'll call it, can succeed in splintering us into all these different factions, well, I've got hunters, we don't really care what you do. We don't really think you need semi-automatic, as long as I can hunt with my bolt action, I'm good. Or we don't think you need to be able to carry handguns, because why do you need a gun? We got police, or all these different people that they want to keep their part okay, as long as what their pet interest is, or what their hobby is, or their concern is not impacted, then they'll let the other go. Because we got to be sensible, right? There's an old proverb about once the camel gets his nose under the tent, the rest is soon to follow. And let me just read you something else. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's from the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Now, there are many people who would say that's referring to a militia. I would contend, as would the Supreme Court, by the way, that it refers to a militia, but at the end of the I guess the bottom line is it says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There's nothing gray about that. That is 100% people is me and you, and keep and bear arms. It doesn't say anything about the right of the people to belong to a militia, the right of the people in a militia. It says the right of the people. And I don't know if you're aware, but the famous battles of Lexington and Concord were fought over gun control. The British were confiscating arms and ammunition, and the American colonists were not going to allow that. And that's pretty much what started the actual battles of the Revolutionary War. And it is my opinion, and I am by no means a constitutional expert or a firearms expert or a political expert, but it is my opinion that the only reason that we enjoy the freedoms we have today is because we the people have the right to keep and bear arms. If you look at almost every single dictatorship and mass murdering type leader in history, from Stalin to Hitler to Mao Zedong, all of them, one of the first things they did was institute gun confiscation and control, because they know that an unarmed population is a very, very malleable population. Now, I'm not really big on conspiracies and all that, but I will say it just makes common sense that the fact that we the people are able to be armed is a very large factor in our ability to enjoy the freedoms and liberties that we have today. And we as a gun community, whether you're a hunter, whether you're a target shooter, whether you're a competitive shooter, or whether you're just a guy like me, or a person like me, who believes in their God-given right to carry a firearm to protect their family and themselves, we got to stick together on this. Whether you agree with James Yeager, you think he's a wacko, whether you think it goes a little too far, whether you think he's a foul-mouthed, loud-mouthed, whatever, we got to stick together. Well, it's just like we've always said, I may not agree with what you say, but I support your right to say it. So, but also, I support YouTube's right to shut him down, because it is their platform. But I think it's they have the right to do so. I don't think it's the right thing for them to do. I think they're being kind of hypocritical if they're going to say that we're gonna censor your viewpoint, but we're gonna let other viewpoints that are maybe contrary to yours go. Again, I think we as a society need to work on that, because we have, for far too long now, we have just kind of devolved into no discussion, and let's just call names and shut people down because they don't agree with us. And so, anyway, that's kind of my take on it. This is my Unban James Yeager video. I'll say I would encourage you to use the hashtag Unban, the hashtag sign. For old folks like me, it's a # Unban James Yeager on social media posts and stuff, just to kind of create awareness. I'm sure James is fighting this. The last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up, like I said, my friend cannot stand James Yeager. But like most people that I know that tell me they can't stand James Yeager, they've never met James Yeager in person. I have had the pleasure of meeting him at a YouTube event here in Atlanta, and then he invited me to the fighting pistol class. I had the pleasure of doing that. Yep, he cusses a lot. I don't cuss, but he does. So, but I'll say that the man is very, very respectful. In the videos he made for me, he didn't use one single bit of profane language. I didn't say anything to him. He just did it on his own. And he treated me like I was family when I was there, and he is probably one of the most kind and gentle, believe it or not. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but just a gentleman and a very generous person. So if you haven't met James Yeager, you want to talk about his on-screen persona or whatever, I think you should, before you judge somebody, you should meet him. Do I agree with everything he says? No, I don't. He probably doesn't agree with everything I say. Nobody does. But I do agree, first of all, that he is an unwavering supporter of the Second Amendment, and we need every one of those out there. We need their voices out there, and we need them continuing to draw attention to the issues that we face as gun owners and free Americans. So I want to say first, right off the bat, thank you, James, for continuing the fight and for doing what you do and for not giving up on this. And I want to urge everybody who's watching this, use that hashtag. You can write YouTube, you can call YouTube. I don't know if it'll have any effect or not. They're going to do what they want to do. Also, you can visit James's other channel, which is, I believe it's just Tactical Response. There'll be a link. If you click this little thing right up here, you'll be able to go to it. Support him there. Support him on Facebook. And if you get a chance to go to Tactical Response to take some classes, I highly recommend it. It'll be really a good use of your time and resources. So anyway, let's hope James is able to work with YouTube and get his channel back, get things going, because he is, again, not only a good voice for our Second Amendment rights, but there's some really, really informative videos on his channel too. So that's it. I'll stop rambling now. Unban James Yeager. Once again, this is Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.